The outcome of this video is not at all what I had planned. Like, totally went off the rails. Not really quite sure what to think about it. So originally what I was going to do is a comparison on wood between a casting resin and a coating resin. So I was going to do a comparison between the Bondcrafter tabletop and then a Bondcrafter fast curer when you're using it on a board like this when you're making a crushed glass Christmas tree. Because sometimes when you use a casting resin that's not meant for coating, you can get fish eyes. You can get the resin that pulls away from your surface and you're left with a really bumpy, uneven surface. So I was going to show you what a casting resin does, how you get fish eyes, but then also how to fix it. However, this did not go to plan whatsoever. You're just going to have to watch the video and find out. My projects turned out okay, but I'm not going to be able to do a comparison, and you'll see why in a minute. So let's get started. So we're going to do a side-by-side comparison between a coating resin, coating resin on this side, casting resin on this side. What is the difference? Yes, it does matter what resin you use. All right, I'm gonna get some gloves on and I'm gonna make two trees. I want to go ahead and mark out where my stars are gonna be and then where my trunks are gonna be. I want my trunks to be kind of small. My stars, I don't really have small stars though. I mean, for trunks, I'm going to use 2 corks. And then stars, what do I have? So I don't have any stars, so I'm going to make some starfish for my stars at the top. Just pour a little extra resin. I'll show y'all that. Okay, so there are my trunks. I have a good gauge about where the glass needs to go. And I'm going to use white glass, or I'm going to use clear glass for both of these, and I'll show you a fun technique how to there's a green piece in there. Toss that. That's a big piece. I'm going to leave it in there. It just adds dimension, good interest. That's probably enough for that one. Some of these are really, really big chunky pieces. I just didn't crush it enough, but I don't care. Do not care. I have no more cares to go. Oh, because chunky glass needs love too. I don't like that piece. Need a little bit more. That one looks crooked as heck. I can straighten it up once I get resin on it. Okay, so my glass is pretty even. I can manipulate it some more once I get the resin on there. Is my cork gonna fit though? Yeah, good enough. Okay, so what did I say I was gonna do? A casting resin on this side and the coating resin on this side. So by a coating resin, I mean it's a resin that is meant for an art coat or like a canvas or a piece of wood where it's meant for coating. It's meant for a tabletop. So I use the Bondcrafter tabletop epoxy. KS Resin has a really good coating resin called Liquidy Split. I think they have an art coat. Stone Coat Countertops has a really, really good coating resin. The Bondcrafter is really, really inexpensive right now. They're running a good deal, a good sale on their website. And then you can also get this on Amazon. So I will have links to both Amazon and the Bondcrafter website. So that's what I'm going to use for this one. And on this one, I'm going to use the regular Bondcrafter Fast Cure, which is more for molds. It's a casting resin. This is a casting resin. It's meant for things like this. Works really well on molds, and it cures. You can demold it in about 6 hours. So I'm going to use that. All right, so here is the tabletop resin all mixed up. I did mix up 100 milliliters, and that way I have enough for a couple of starfish. And I'm also going, because for this experiment I want to show you, I'm going to coat the whole board. Now, so I wanted to mention too, these are fence boards from our fence project a couple of years ago. I kept the boards, they were good boards. Cut off the rotten bits. This is the original color that I've sanded really, really well, so they're clean. I don't have to seal these again because the paint actually, that's what seals the wood. All right, so I'm going to go in with the resin now. I'm focusing on the edges. You've heard me say this before. Get your edges covered because you don't want any glass seeping out. And I am being very, very generous with this resin right now. And it's dripping, but that's okay. That's what I want. So now I'm going to get it on my board. And this is going to get messy. I have it elevated on some little cups. That just helps with, controlling the, well, it's not going to control the drips. It's going to drip, but it's going to drip on my silicone mat, not get sticky on the back of the board, if that makes sense. So just work my finger in there. So it's going to drip off the sides and not cause a big lumpy mess on the back of the board. And then I can sand those off if I want to. So just take your finger and spread it. Make sure your board is covered. If this is what you want to do. I really like the look of this, of having my whole board covered. It just looks really, really elegant. It makes it look finished. A much more professional or classic look. Maybe not professional, but just a classic look. Let's just make sure we got enough on the edges there. And it is going to drip. I know it's going to drip, but what I'll do is continue to run my hand around the top. Let me get this cup moved so that it doesn't stick to my cup. But I'll just keep running my hand around it and then underneath as it drips and kind of control that a little bit. Let's get the cork on there. And then I'll put my star at the top when I'm finished. So I do have some of this resin left over. I'm just going to go ahead and use some of it. And then I'll go ahead and make my stars. I put some alcohol ink in there. All right, so just do a couple of little drops in the mold there because it's going to match what I'm going to do here. So see, if you don't have colored glass, don't worry about it.
So holler out in the comments if you can see what I am doing wrong here. Oh, so wrong. Now, I have done this technique before, this alcohol ink technique, but there's one key difference here. Can you spot what I'm doing wrong? I don't know where my brain was today and why I didn't realize it until it was too late that, of course, the alcohol ink is going to leach into the resin. I've done this a million different ways with alcohol ink projects. So I know this, but evidently my brain was on pause today. So let's just blame it on menopause. But we're going to move on to the other tree for now.
This is the Fast Cure, which is not a coating resin, it is a casting resin. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on my board first. Because that's a little disappointing. I should have known that. That's okay. I'm gonna go with it. This on first.
So my theory is that the casting resin, because it's not meant as an art coat, it will cause the resin to repel in spots, and those are called fish eyes. Now I'm applying it pretty thick on the board and also being very generous on the glass. But can you guess that I am not going to be putting alcohol ink on this one? Gee, I wonder why.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just lay it on there kind of thick and see if that will make a difference. You know, I don't know. We're gonna try it. All right, we'll let that cure up, but I think I'm gonna put some ornaments on this one. Just keep rubbing the sides. I know it's gonna drip. I'm just curious if I get it on there really thick, am I gonna get fish eyes? I kind of feel like I might. I can already see some fish eyes there. Let's just see. See if I can kind of work on this one a little bit.
So I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Maybe I thought I could just rub away the green ink that bled onto the board. It really sure didn't work. So I know what we could do that'll make it all better. Let's make it even worse by adding some fuchsia alcohol ink. Surely that will make it all better, right? Doesn't purple and green go together? I really am almost hearing the Barney theme song right now.
Oh, we're going to see if this is a big, gigantic, fat mess, or did I just save this? I don't know. It's definitely siphoning up into the tree, but that may end up looking pretty cool. All right, we need to do something to this one. I'm going to use these red seed beads. A lot of drips already on this one. So it's definitely wanting to run off, but I'm not seeing very much fish eyeing so far. So this is not at all how I expected this video to go. Oh my gosh. This is not at all what I expected. I don't know if I should be horrified, amused, or thrilled. I am not quite sure where my feelings are on this one. Oh boy. So let's do a comparison. This one has zero fish eyes. Zero, zero, zero. This is the Bond Crafter tabletop. And this one was with the Bond Crafter Fast Cure. And it's proven me a liar, actually. The Fast Cure, but because I put it on so thick, there's no fish eyes on this one either. I have a couple of spots where it did pull away. You can't really see it along the edges, but I have no fish eyes, and so that's the trick. If you're going to use a coating resin, I think use a fast cure and then use a thick layer. So the fast cure is really thick, so I think that's why it worked. It stayed in place and it cured with no fish eyes. So but I do want to do another comparison between the tabletop and then maybe the regular Bond Crafter, the regular casting resin, because I do want to show you what fish eyes do, what causes fish eyes, and then also how to fix them. All right, so what I'm going to do now, slightly horrified. These little turtles turned out cute. Really cute. I need those for other things, but I mainly needed these stars. I'm going to put these on. Normally I would do this when the resin is still goopy, but piece of glass in the way. I'm just going to do that. But I did not have any stars ready. They need little stars. So I'm just doing this now. And do you see I have a piece of that alcohol ink right there? That's okay. I'm going to go with it. So these just have to dry. Totally not what I wanted at all. So I don't know. I don't know if I need to put these in my art show booth or not. I think this one definitely, I really like it. This one, I'm not so sure. I am not so sure. Just let me know in the comments what you think of this one and should I even put it in my booth. It is kind of cool. It is kind of cool, but I don't know, not what I was expecting, but maybe it does have some potential. I don't know. I might have to experiment definitely with different colors, but really kind of cool. All right, the only other thing I'm going to do, I've got to take these outside and sand off the burrs.
I used the grinding wheel from the Let's Resin sander to just sand off all the drips. And then I took them back in my studio and put on some sawtooth hangers on the back so that they can hang on the wall.
And that's it. I don't know. I'm, I don't know. I like this one. I definitely like the color. It's very simple, very elegant. But this one, I just don't know. A coating resin and a casting resin. When you were, so originally I was going to do a comparison. Originally, what I was going to do is a comparison between a casting. So originally, what I was going to do is a comparison on a piece of wood when you're using. However, however, this does it act. All right, so for corks, I'm going to use two.